Welcome to Chapter Wise, the place where powerful ideas from life-changing books get broken down into clear, practical insights. Today's book is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It's not about doing huge things all at once. It's about the small, smart choices you make every day and how, over time, they shape your entire life. Imagine this. 3 friends, all the same age, same job, and same income. The first one, let's call him Tom, decides life is good enough. He keeps doing what he's always done, scrolling through social media, grabbing fast food on the way home, and promising himself that one day he'll get serious about success. The second, Sam, starts making tiny changes. He reads 10 pages of a book each day. He cuts 1 soda from his meals. He listens to self-improvement podcasts on his commute. And the third, Jake, slips in the opposite direction. A donut here, a few skipped workouts there, a little more time on Netflix every night. For the first few months, nothing seems different. No big wins, no big losses. But here's the thing about small choices. They're silent at first until they're not. Fast forward 2 years. Sam's reading has rewired his thinking, his health has improved, and opportunities are showing up at his door. Tom's exactly where he started. And Jake, he's gained weight, lost focus, and wonders why life feels heavier than before. That's the power of the compound effect, the invisible force quietly shaping our destiny through every small choice we make. Darren Hardy, the author of this book, calls it the ripple effect of everyday decisions. It's not about overnight success or sudden transformation. It's about what happens when ordinary actions are repeated long enough to create extraordinary results. And in this summary, we'll explore how to take control of your habits, build unstoppable momentum, and prove that greatness is built, not in giant leaps, but in quiet, consistent steps. We live in an age where patience has become a forgotten art. Our world is built on speed, fast internet, instant noodles, one-day delivery, and 15-second fame. Everywhere you look, someone is promising a shortcut. Lose 20 pounds in a week. Make $10,000 in 30 days. Change your life in 5 easy steps. It sounds tempting, doesn't it? Because who wouldn't want results now, without the grind, the waiting, or the uncertainty? But here's the cruel truth that most people don't see. Success that comes fast disappears even faster. It's like a spark in the dark, bright for a second, then gone forever. What Darren Hardy calls the illusion of quick success is one of the biggest traps of modern life. We've been trained to admire the finish line without caring how the race was run. We see the highlight reel, the entrepreneur who suddenly made millions, the athlete who came out of nowhere, the artist who blew up overnight. But we never see the quiet years, the mornings of doubt, the nights of discipline, the invisible work that built the visible result. The truth? There is no overnight success. There's only compound success, slow, steady, and painfully patient. Let's think about it this way. Imagine planting a seed. You water it for a week, nothing happens. 2 weeks, still nothing. By the 3rd week, you start to doubt yourself. Maybe this soil isn't right. Maybe I'm wasting my time. But what you don't see is what's happening beneath the surface. Roots are spreading. The foundation is forming. The growth is invisible until it's not. That's how progress works in real life. Whether you're trying to build a business, write a book, master a skill, or change your habits, the results always come after a long season of silence. But the world doesn't reward silence. It rewards visibility. It celebrates the end, not the effort. And so people give up right before their breakthrough because they can't see the progress that's happening quietly behind the scenes. That's why Hardy warns us about what he calls the microwave mentality, this desperate craving for instant gratification. We want to heat our success in 30 seconds and expect it to taste like something slow-cooked. But real success isn't microwaved, it's marinated. It takes time for your habits, your mindset, and your character to develop flavor. You see, it's not the big, dramatic changes that shape your life. It's the small, boring, consistent choices you repeat every single day. The ones that don't look like they're doing much at all. Skipping the sugary drink. Reading 10 pages. Saving a few dollars. waking up early, even when no one will notice. Those are the tiny, invisible bricks that build the foundation of a remarkable life. But because the results take time to show, most people quit too early. They measure progress in days instead of decades. And when they don't see fireworks, they assume the fuse is broken, when in reality, it's still burning. Darren Hardy says, "The difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is that little extra, repeated every single day." The truth is, success is never a dramatic leap. It's a quiet accumulation. It's the patience to keep going when the world is telling you to stop. It's trusting that the invisible progress will one day become visible, if only you stay consistent long enough. Because the real secret of the compound effect isn't just about doing small things. It's about believing that those small things matter, even when you can't see the result yet. So the next time you feel behind, or you're tempted by a shortcut, remember this. You don't need to move fast. You just need to keep moving. The power of consistency. Let me tell you a secret. Consistency is the most underestimated superpower in the world. Everyone loves motivation. We crave inspiration. We wait for that perfect morning when everything feels right, the sun shining, the coffee strong, the energy flowing. But here's the harsh truth. Motivation is temporary. Consistency is permanent. Motivation gets you started. Consistency keeps you going. You see, the compound effect doesn't reward those who do great things sometimes. It rewards those who do small things every time. Imagine two people decide to improve their lives. The first one goes all in, hits the gym for 3 hours, eats clean for a week, feels unstoppable, then burns out. The second one? He works out for just 30 minutes a day, quietly, without fanfare. A month later, the difference is invisible. A year later, it's undeniable. Because success is not about intensity, it's about consistency. Darren Hardy puts it this way. The compound effect is always working, either for you or against you. And that's the part most people forget. Every small choice compounds. The healthy meal or the junk food. The book or the television show. The saving or the spending. The discipline or the delay. Each decision seems meaningless in the moment, but multiplied over time, it builds a destiny. Let's put it in perspective. Missing one workout doesn't make you unfit. Just like one salad doesn't make you healthy. But when those small choices repeat, day after day, they create momentum, a force that becomes almost unstoppable. That's why Hardy says consistency is like gravity. Once it takes hold, it pulls you forward, even when you don't feel like moving. But here's the challenge. Consistency is boring. It's repetitive. It doesn't give you instant dopamine hits or applause. There's no audience clapping for you when you wake up at 5 a.m. or read in silence while others scroll their phones. And yet, that's where greatness is built. Think about it. The most successful people you admire are not the most talented. They're the most consistent. They show up when others don't. They repeat the basics until the basics look like mastery. It's not that they never fail. It's that they never stop. There's a moment in the compound effect where Hardy talks about momentum as a snowball. At first, it's small, fragile, rolling slowly down a hill. But with every turn, it gathers more snow, more speed, more power, until eventually, nothing can stop it. That's how habits work. That's how wealth grows. That's how confidence builds. Small wins, repeated over time, become massive victories. And the best part? Once you've built consistency, it starts to carry you. Discipline becomes automatic. You no longer push yourself. The momentum pulls you. You wake up earlier, not because you have to, but because your body expects it. You read, not because it's a goal, but because it's who you are now. You save money, not from fear, but from habit. That's the compound effect at work. Invisible effort, multiplied by time, producing extraordinary results. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not loud. It's quiet, steady, almost invisible. But if you give enough time, it will turn ordinary actions into an extraordinary life. So don't chase motivation. Build momentum. And remember, it's not what you do once that changes your life. It's what you do always. Let me tell you a secret. Consistency is the most underestimated superpower in the world. Everyone loves motivation. We crave inspiration. We wait for that perfect morning when everything feels right, the sun shining, the coffee strong, the energy flowing. But here's the harsh truth. Motivation is temporary. Consistency is permanent. Motivation gets you started. Consistency keeps you going. You see, the compound effect doesn't reward those who do great things sometimes. It rewards those who do small things every time. Imagine two people decide to improve their lives. The first one goes all in, hits the gym for 3 hours, eats clean for a week, feels unstoppable, then burns out. The second one? He works out for just 30 minutes a day, quietly, without fanfare. A month later, the difference is invisible. A year later, it's undeniable. Because success is not about intensity, it's about consistency. Darren Hardy puts it this way. The compound effect is always working, either for you or against you. And that's the part most people forget. Every small choice compounds. The healthy meal or the junk food. The book or the television show. The saving or the spending. The discipline or the delay. Each decision seems meaningless in the moment, but multiplied over time, it builds a destiny. Let's put it in perspective. Missing one workout doesn't make you unfit. Just like one salad doesn't make you healthy. But when those small choices repeat day after day, they create momentum, a force that becomes almost unstoppable. That's why Hardy says consistency is like gravity. Once it takes hold, it pulls you forward, even when you don't feel like moving. But here's the challenge. Consistency is boring. It's repetitive. It doesn't give you instant dopamine hits or applause. There's no audience clapping for you when you wake up at 5 a.m. or read in silence while others scroll their phones. And yet, that's where greatness is built. Think about it. The most successful people you admire are not the most talented. They're the most consistent. They show up when others don't. They repeat the basics until the basics look like mastery. It's not that they never fail. It's that they never stop. There's a moment in the compound effect where Hardy talks about momentum as a snowball. At first, it's small, fragile, rolling slowly down the hill. But with every turn, it gathers more snow, more speed, more power, until eventually nothing can stop it. That's how habits work. That's how wealth grows. That's how confidence builds. Small wins, repeated over time, become massive victories. And the best part? Once you've built consistency, it starts to carry you. Discipline becomes automatic. You no longer push yourself. The momentum pulls you. You wake up earlier, not because you have to, but because your body expects it. You read, not because it's a goal, but because it's who you are now. You save money, not from fear, but from habit. That's the compound effect at work. Invisible effort, multiplied by time, producing extraordinary results. Consistency is not glamorous. It's not loud. It's quiet, steady, almost invisible. But if you give it enough time, it will turn ordinary actions into an extraordinary life. So don't chase motivation. Build momentum. And remember, it's not what you do once that changes your life. It's what you do always. Every day, you make choices, hundreds of them. Most of them are small, almost invisible. What time to wake up? Whether to scroll for 5 more minutes. Whether to read that chapter or skip it. Whether to save that extra dollar or spend it. And yet, these tiny choices, repeated daily, determine the entire direction of your life. Darren Hardy says, you will never change your life until you change something you do daily. And that's not just about action, it's about awareness. Most people live on autopilot. They move through their routines half awake, unaware that every decision is either taking them closer to their dreams or quietly pulling them away. That's why the compound effect doesn't start with money or success or habits. It starts with something deeper, your core values. Because your values are your internal compass. They're what guide your choices when no one's watching. They're the quiet voice that says this matters or this doesn't. Without them, you drift. With them, you move with direction. Think of it like this. Imagine sailing across the ocean without a compass. You might be moving, but in the wrong direction. That's what life feels like when your daily habits aren't aligned with your core values. So before you can make the right choices, you must first understand who you are and what you stand for. Hardy suggests a simple exercise. Think of someone you deeply admire in your field or in life. Ask yourself, what qualities make them great? Is it discipline, integrity, creativity, curiosity? The traits you admire in others often reflect the values that already live inside you, the ones waiting to be honored through your actions. For Darren, those values were learning, growth, and contribution. For you, they might be excellence, courage, or compassion. Whatever they are, once you define them, they become your personal GPS. And here's why that matters. When you know your core values, you stop needing instant results. You stop obsessing over when success will arrive, because you're already living in alignment with what matters most. That alignment brings peace, even when progress feels slow. You can tell yourself, I'm not there yet, but I'm on the right path. Let's take an example. Imagine your value is growth. Every time you read a book instead of watching another episode, you honor that value. Every time you take on a challenge, even when it's uncomfortable, you live that value. And with each repetition, you build not just habits, but identity. Because in the end, the compound effect isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. And here's something Darren Hardy learned while interviewing hundreds of high achievers. The most fulfilled people aren't those who have the most money or fame. They're the ones who live in harmony with their values. That's why he says, success without fulfillment is failure. Your values are the foundation that the compound effect multiplies. Without them, your progress will always feel empty. With them, every small win feels meaningful because it reflects the person you want to be. So the next time you face a decision, big or small, pause and ask yourself, does this choice align with my core values? If the answer is yes, you're compounding in the right direction. Because the compound effect isn't magic. It's math multiplied by meaning. And when your daily choices reflect who you truly are, every small step adds up to something extraordinary. There's a mysterious force that separates those who start strong from those who actually finish. It's the reason some people quit halfway through January, while others are still grinding in June. It's the invisible current that carries you once you've done the hard part, the start. Darren Hardy calls it the big MO. Momentum. Momentum is what happens when consistency turns into rhythm, and rhythm turns into power. Think about pushing a heavy flywheel. At first, it barely moves. You strain, you push, you sweat. It feels pointless, as if your effort is wasted. But you keep at it. Push after push, the wheel starts to turn. Slowly at first, then faster. Then suddenly it's spinning on its own, powered by its own motion. That's momentum. And once you have it, it becomes almost effortless to keep going. But here's the catch. Getting to that point takes discipline. It takes the willingness to do boring things again and again, long before the results show up. Let's look at an example. Michael Phelps. Before he won a single Olympic gold medal, he trained 6 hours a day, every day for years. His coach only let him miss practice once in 12 years, and that was just to attend a school dance. Think about that. While most people train to compete, Phelps trained to compound. Each lap built on the last. Each day fed the next, until momentum became his greatest weapon. That's the big MO in action. When you reach that state, your habits start working for you instead of against you. Waking up early isn't a struggle, it's automatic. Choosing healthy food doesn't require willpower, it's just what you do. Success becomes your default setting. But momentum isn't permanent. It's fragile. You have to protect it because once you stop feeding it, it fades fast. Ever notice how missing one workout makes it easier to miss the next? Or how one day of procrastination somehow turns into 3? That's momentum working in reverse. Negative habits compound just as powerfully as positive ones. Skip enough workouts, ignore enough goals, waste enough hours, and soon you've built momentum in the wrong direction. So how do you keep your momentum rolling? Darren Hardy offers a simple formula. Routine plus environment equals sustained momentum. You need a routine that supports your goals and an environment that protects your progress. Start by building structure around your habits. Not giant leaps, but small, repeatable actions. If your goal is fitness, maybe it's 10 push-ups after brushing your teeth. If your goal is wealth, maybe it's saving 1% more each month. Whatever it is, keep it simple, consistent, and trackable. Then, look at your environment. Who are you surrounded by? What are you listening to, watching, reading every day? Because whether you notice it or not, your environment is either pushing you forward or pulling you back. Negative people, toxic media, lazy routines, they quietly drain your momentum. Replace them with things that fuel you. Listen to stories that inspire you. Spend time with people who challenge you. Keep reminders of your goals visible every day. And here's the most important part. When you fall off track, and you will, don't start over. Just start again. Momentum doesn't disappear the moment you stumble. It only dies when you stop moving altogether. So protect your rhythm, guard your habits, and keep the wheel turning, even slowly. Because mastery doesn't come from massive bursts of effort. It comes from the gentle, steady pressure of consistency, applied long enough to become unstoppable. In the beginning, you push the wheel, but in time, the wheel begins to push you. That's when you know you've tapped into the big MO. And from there, success becomes inevitable. Every journey worth taking hits a wall. That wall can look different for everyone. Exhaustion, doubt, rejection, or even success that plateaus too soon. But the truth is, everyone hits it. The question is, what do you do when it shows up? Most people stop. They see the wall and think, maybe this isn't for me. But the great ones, the truly successful ones, they see that wall as a test, a challenge to rise higher, push harder, and prove that persistence beats talent, luck, and timing every single time. Darren Hardy calls this the breakthrough point. It's the moment where all your tiny, invisible efforts begin to collide, where patience finally meets payoff. Think about it like pumping water from an old-fashioned well. At first, you pump and pump, but nothing happens. No water, no progress, just resistance. But if you keep pumping consistently, steadily, the pressure builds. Then, suddenly, the water starts to flow. And once it does, it keeps flowing with ease, as long as you keep pumping. Now, imagine if you had stopped just before the breakthrough. You'd never know how close you were to success. That's how persistence works. You don't always see the results immediately. But every small action is building invisible momentum behind scenes. Hardy reminds us, when you hit the wall, that's not the end of your journey. That's the beginning of your transformation. Let's take an example. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When asked how it felt to fail so often, he simply said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." That's what happens when you stop seeing obstacles as stop signs and start seeing them as stepping stones. Every failure, every rejection, every tough day compounds. It doesn't break you, it builds you. The truth is, persistence is less about brute force and more about staying power. The quiet determination to show up, even when it's not easy, even when no one's watching, even when progress feels invisible. Hardy often says, it's not the big things that shape our lives, it's the little things we do over and over again that nobody sees. That's the essence of persistence. It's the art of staying committed when the excitement fades. And here's where the real growth happens. Not when things are easy, but when they're not. When you push through that moment of resistance, you don't just move forward, you level up. You build grit. You build trust in yourself. You realize that you can rely on your effort, even when results haven't shown up yet. That's the mindset that separates the dreamers from the doers. When you commit to persistence, something magical happens. You become unstoppable. You stop chasing motivation, and instead, you start running on discipline. You stop waiting for opportunities, and instead, your consistency begins creating them. So, the next time you hit a wall, remember this. That wall isn't there to stop you. It's there to test how badly you want what's on the other side. And if you keep showing up day after day, eventually that wall will crack. Not because it got weaker, but because you got stronger. That's the power of persistence. It's not glamorous. It's not instant. But it's the most reliable force for success you'll ever find. Because in the world of the compound effect, success doesn't go to the smartest or the luckiest or even the most talented. It goes to the one who simply refuses to quit. Imagine this. A year from now, you look in the mirror. Nothing about you has changed overnight, but everything about you feels different. You're sharper, more disciplined, more confident. You make decisions with clarity. You walk with purpose. And when someone asks how you did it, you won't have a flashy answer. No miracle habits. No overnight hacks. Just one truth. You started doing small things consistently, and you never stopped. That's the compound mindset. It's the quiet understanding that greatness is not built in leaps, but in layers. That transformation doesn't happen in a moment of motivation. It happens in 1,000 moments of choice. Every choice matters. Every action compounds. Every day counts. This is the philosophy Darren Hardy wanted us to understand. That our lives aren't shaped by what we do once in a while. They're shaped by what we do every single day. And here's the thing most people miss. The compound effect is always at work, whether you realize it or not. Every time you choose the easy way, you're compounding weakness. Every time you delay action, you're compounding procrastination. Every time you settle, you're compounding regret. But every time you keep your promise to yourself, even in small ways, you're compounding strength. Every time you read instead of scroll, save instead of spend, move instead of sit, you're building a future that quietly rewards you later. That's why Hardy calls success boring. Because the most life-changing actions rarely look impressive in the moment. They're small, silent, and simple until time multiplies them. Look back at any great achiever, a master investor, an athlete, an author, a leader, and you'll find the same truth hiding underneath their story. They built their greatness brick by brick, habit by habit, choice by choice. And so can you. You don't need a new system. You don't need to wait for the right time. You just need to start right now with what you have. Because your next chapter isn't waiting for inspiration. It's waiting for consistency. The compound effect is not just a principle, it's a way of living. It's choosing to be the person who plants the seed and trusts the process. The one who doesn't need applause to keep going. The one who knows that the real reward isn't what you get, it's who you become along the way. So when you wake up tomorrow, remember this. Your actions are votes for the kind of person you're becoming. Your habits are shaping your destiny, one quiet day at a time. Success isn't a finish line. It's a rhythm, a routine, a lifestyle. And once you learn to live by the compound effect, you'll never chase success again, because success will start chasing you. If this message inspired you, don't just listen, apply it. Start small, stay consistent, and watch how the invisible forces of your daily choices begin shaping your extraordinary life.